सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।
Namaskar, good afternoon and welcome to CIET NCERT's another live and interactive session, Sahyog. My name is Deepak Mishra and you are watching this session live on PM eVidya channel number 6 to 12. And apart from that, you can also reach us and join us on our official YouTube channel, which goes by the name NCERT Official. So as you know that Sahyog and Paricharcha sessions are very important sessions, and these sessions are brought to you by Manodarpan, and it's a great initiative of Ministry of Education as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat to provide psychosocial support to parents, teachers and students among the nation for their mental well-being. So during this entire session, if you want to reach us by asking questions or if you want to give any suggestions, any feedback, you can call us on a number. Our number is 8800440559. And we also do have a Manodarpan special telephone number where you can call and talk to our experts. The number is 844-844-0632. And apart from that, you can also reach us by writing an email. We have a dedicated email ID, that is sahyog.ncert@ciet.nic.in. And apart from that, during this live session, you can go to our official YouTube channel, which goes by the name NCERT Official. And in the live chat box, in the comments section during this session, you can ask your questions, you can give your feedback and suggestions. So dear viewers, now let me introduce all of you with the topic on which today we will be discussing and learning a lot of things today. So the topic for today's Sahyog session is important. It's role of language and communication in adolescent, emotional regulation and conflict resolution. Yes, we will be learning and discussing a lot of things today on this important topic. Now, please join me to welcome today's experts, guest who had joined us in this Sahyog session. We are joined by Ms. Radhika T, ma'am. She's RI from RI NCRT Mysuru. Radhika ma'am, very good afternoon and namaskar.
Namaskar and good afternoon, sir.
And we are also joined by Dr. Bharathi Kulashekaran ma'am. She is practicing counselor. Bharathi ma'am, namaskar, good afternoon.
Namaste, good afternoon.
Welcome ma'am. And you can see on screen, we are also joined by our Indian Sign Language interpreter. Her name is Anushka Sharma and she will be helping our viewers to understand this complete session in the form of Indian Sign Language. Welcome Anushka. So let's begin this session. First of all, Radhika ma'am, I'm very excited to learn and discuss a lot of things today on an important topic, especially for the adolescents. We will be learning a lot of things today in language in terms of communication. But firstly, how will you describe today's topic, Radhika ma'am? And first question is, what is emotional regulation?
Okay, thank you. So what is meant by that is emotional regulation. That is what you are asking here. If we want to describe what is emotional regulation in simple terms, means regulation means regulating or the ability to understand, regulate ourselves. How can we regulate our emotions? That means that the ability to understand, manage and respond to emotional experiences in ways that are socially acceptable. That is, according to the society, how a child can regulate his emotions and behave according to it in a healthy way. How he can experiences the emotions or he can exhibit his emotions in a more healthy way in the society. That is according to the which he can, which what the society has been accepted. So next slide, please.
Yeah.
So, and what is the core concept of emotional regulation means? That is, it is moderating the intensity of the duration of emotions. That means that anger, sadness, excitement, everything is there. What we are doing is, it is not eliminating process, actually we are moderating it, and we are channelizing it in a right way, that which we can match the demands of the situation and achieve the personal goals. So we have to moderate it, and we have to lead it in a right way. And how we can moderate these emotions, anxiety, anger, and everything means through our lifestyles and through our behaviors. Especially when we come to our behaviors, we have to firstly we have to identify our triggers. So what exactly the emotions when I get the trigger, so which situations triggers me, or which people triggers me, when I'll go wrong, we have to identify the triggers. So identify triggering is very important, because identify triggering is nothing but identifying the problem, what it is going at the cause, the root cause for my problem. When we identify the cause, so we can find the solution for the problem, it will be very easy for us. And practicing self compassion, self compassion is nothing but self love towards us. So we are the good friends for ourselves, we should be friend for ourselves, rather than finding friend outside. Firstly we have to find out, we have to introspect in ourselves, what exactly where I am going wrong, or how I have to behave in the society and everything. And then engage in pleasant activities, that is we have to engage ourselves to some activities, we have to engage in good activities, so that what happens, enjoyable activities. Sometimes if I am anxiety or if I am angry towards somebody, instead of shouting or screaming, to come out of that, I can go for a walk or listen to the music, something like that. Some we have to engage ourselves in the good activities. And then prioritizing the health, that is physical health. Nowadays we see, whenever we visit the park, we always see the old people walking in the park and everything, they are giving much importance for the physical health. Coming to our youngsters or the adolescents, they'll not give much importance for their health conscious only, they are not giving the good exercises, they are not practicing, and they are not sleeping properly. Always the screen time is more, and they're not eat nutritious food, they are not much worried about it, and they're not exercising. Instead of it, they have to go through it all this, that is they have to sleep well and eat nutritious food and exercise properly, so that what happens, they can regulate their emotions, and see to that they have the seek social support. In case if they do all this, even though they can't come out of this their emotional barriers, if they can't come out of this anxiety and everything, then they can go for some, with the friends they can discuss, or they can discuss with the therapist and everything. So I would like to conclude this answer with one of the quote of Aristotle's challenge, that is Aristotle has made, which I have taken from one of the very nice book written by Daniel Goleman. Today I have bought this book also to show you. It is a very interesting book relating to emotional intelligence. The book starts with this quote. So what is this quote telling here means, anyone can become angry, that is very easy part to becoming angry. But what he says, see here, so how beautifully, but to be angry with right person, we have to be angry with the right person, it seems, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way. This is not easy. So to becoming angry also, we should have the right purpose and right degree and right time, we have to exhibit our anger. That is what Aristotle said. With these words I would like to conclude, say that emotional regulation is very important in, especially in adolescent stage.
Well, you have explained us so beautifully, ma'am, that what is emotional regulation and why it is important. And you have given such a beautiful example that it is okay, it is totally okay to be angry, but with the good, right person, for right situation, for right cause, it is important and it is not so easy. Definitely, the book which you have suggested, I'll go with that. I'll come back to you, Radhika, ma'am. Now I'll come to Dr. Bharathi, ma'am. She's practicing counselor. Bharti ma'am, you understand very well because it is one of the important topic on which today we are discussing, and we have understood that what is emotional regulation. But ma'am, Bharti ma'am, I want to understand with you that in terms of cruciality, in terms of importance in adolescence development, ma'am, what do you think? Why it is so crucial in adolescence development?
See, what is emotional intelligence? That was well explained by Radhika. But it is very important to know that why that emotional regulation becomes crucial during adolescence. As we all know, this stage of life is marked by quick physical, psychological, social, and emotional changes. That is why the emotional regulation becomes a roller coaster journey for an adolescent. As such, it is a hard task to control the emotions. Over and above that, the adolescent has to regulate these emotions. And then why that emotional regulation becomes so difficult during adolescence? We need to know the reasons for that. First of all, when we consider the anatomy of the brain, when we look at brain development, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision making, impulse control, and emotional regulation, is still developing during adolescence. Brain development gets completed only when they become 18 years old. Till that time, all these changes will be happening physically inside. While this is happening, the amygdala, that is also part of the brain, which is linked to emotions like fear and aggression, becomes more and more active during adolescence. So, naturally, this imbalance can make adolescents more emotionally reactive and less capable of self regulation without support and practice. This is physical aspect. When we come to the psychological aspect, adolescents suffer from identity crisis. They are still exploring their identity, and they're trying to figure out who they are, what they are. And then this poor emotional regulation will definitely lead to unstable moods, low self esteem, or difficulty forming a coherent sense of self. This is definitely a terrible combination, and the adolescent will definitely suffer due to emotional imbalance if the adolescent is going through. Each and every performance will be affected. And when we come to peer relationship, we all know that adolescent development is very importantly dependent on peer interaction and peer relationships. So social dynamics become more complex and important. So effective emotional regulation, even with the peers, helps them to manage conflict, the pressure from the peers themselves, and rejection in a healthier ways, reducing the risk of bullying or social isolation. Nowadays, as we could see, adolescents are not able to take failure. They are not able to take no's from life. So that is where this emotional regulation becomes very important. And then when we come to the mental health, this is a peak period. This is a marked period for the onset of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and self harm. So, strengthening these emotional regulation skills can act as a protective factor for them. In result, naturally, their mental health is also improved. That is where we talk about emotional well-being. And then we put a lot of pressure on academics during adolescence because everything has to happen within that period. They will have to go through two board exams. So naturally, the stress aspect will be high in them, so emotional dysregulation is added to this. It can affect their concentration, motivation, and then even the classroom behavior. And then who regulates? The adolescents who are able to regulate their emotions well, they have shown uh, good academic performance, better academic performance, stronger relationship traits, and very few behavioral problems. We cannot expect the problems to come to zero, which is also not normal. Then this risk behavior prevention. We know nowadays the accidents are more happening with adolescents. Even though the law of the land says till 18 they're not supposed to give vehicles and all, but it is still happening. According to the statistics, more of the accidents are happening by adolescents. So they're more likely to engage in risky behavior, and something like substance abuse. It could be nicotine, it could be alcohol, and one added thing is unsafe sex, unwanted pregnancy, and as I told you earlier, reckless driving. When they cannot manage their emotions, each and every aspect will be affected. So, when adolescents are able to regulate their emotions well, it becomes a tool to pause and reflect. In result, it will be reducing the impulsive character in the personality. So, in a nutshell, what I would like to say is emotional regulation during adolescence is a foundation work to become a healthy adult and to function healthily, emotionally, socially, cognitively. So, supporting them in developing these skills will definitely shape the long term mental health and success in life. So, encouraging emotional intelligence in adolescence will definitely help them to navigate the challenges of adolescence and set them up for success in their future endeavors.
Well, I think, ma'am, you have spoken a very important thing, important fact that why it is crucial, why it is important in terms of when we speak about adolescence. Parents and teachers must understand that during this entire period, what kind of emotions do adolescents faces, and it's very difficult for them sometimes to manage these emotions. My next question is with Radhika ma'am only.
Yes,
Radhika
sir.
ma'am, can you please explain us? Because personally, I have also noticed, I have also experienced, and it is said that adolescents sometimes face difficulty in managing the emotions. They have a lot of emotions in their mind, in their heart. So, what do
Yeah.
you think, ma'am, in terms of language and communication? How this language and communication help adolescents in managing the emotions?
Okay. Next slide, please. Slide. Okay. So language, when it comes to language and communication, language plays a very vital role in managing, or we can say in regulating the emotions. So what role language plays means, so when the language skill is developed very well in the adolescent, so firstly he will engage himself in the internal self talk. As I earlier told, me ourself is the best friend. I am the best friend for myself. So he start to talk for himself, that is cognitive. When he start to talk for himself, he learns to regulate through the language. He learns what I am doing right, whether I am doing in a right way, right path. He starts to judge himself properly. Understood? So the internal talks helps him to reduce the emotional intensity and gain control over the negative feelings what it is there. He starts to talk himself and he realizes, so what exactly I can do, what is a good behavior I can represent myself or exhibit myself, express myself in the society. So that is what he start to think. That is what communication helps him, and language helps him in the developing the social skills of the child. So next slide. So and language skills, when it comes means how language helps when we want to talk here means language through words. How language words helps him means helps the adolescents to make his abstract feelings to become concrete. So how concrete means which enhances him in the emotional awareness. How the abstract feelings, how language helps to become concrete means, see example, I have given some pictures here. Firstly, he identifies in, he gives the name for the emotion, what exactly is happening in him. So whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad, whether I'm anxiety, whether I'm frustrated, so he doesn't know what he is really. So when the child has the control over the language, he identify what emotion he is experiencing it, and he validates that emotions, and then he identify the triggers for that emotions, why I'm acting like this, when I'll be happy. He identify the real cause for the emotional behavior, and he tries to find the solution for it. What solution might be, I can go for the meditation or mindfulness if I do, or when I excited, when I'm anger, might be he can talk with the peer group, that is talking through his emotion, maybe with his family members, and journaling. That is, see, when the extra that emotional regulation, that is anger, anxiety, or depression, when it is there, he can note down, he can make it a journaling, he can do the journaling of his emotions here. So example, if we take, when we take many writers like Sylvia Plath and one more writer, we call it as Goat also. So they are the writers, they started the writing especially to get out from their depression. The doctor or the psychiatrist or a psychiatrist suggested them to go for writing for them. Okay, so that's the reason they started the writing. So they are such a great writers today, even today they are. So like this, we can channelize, language turns them or channelize their emotions in a proper way, and then they notice when I need exactly the break, and good sleep how it helps, And even though if it is not helping all these things, they can go for the therapist and they can take the suggestion what I can do and everything. And coming to this is how language helps. And coming to communication, how it supports the adolescents means, see, effective communications always it creates a safe environment for the adolescent. That is, if he is very good in communication, he can share his feelings. So what sometimes what happens, he'll be feeling something, he couldn't give the words for his feelings. So if he is good in language and communication, he can give the words for his feelings. So that what happens, the surroundings who are there, his parents or peer groups or the teachers, they can understand what exactly where he is standing and everything, and they may give the good suggestion for them. So this is how. And open communications, even parents and adults should give the uh, should create such a type of atmosphere so that the child can express his inner feelings there. And he should be, language development not only develops him to speak, or communication means not only the speaking, he will also develop the skill of listening is also a very important skill which develops him. He learns to see, nowadays you might have observed in the adolescence, there are very less listeners are there in the adolescence. So they will, so language will helps them to listen to the good advice given by the elders or the peer group, anybody. They will listen to their advice, good advices. And broader richer vocabulary is what happens when the child is having the hold in the language. He can clarify his expressions or the emotions, he can give the life here. As I already told, Sylvia Plath is one such example for it here.
Yes,
She was actually in a deep emotion. She has written many works also to get rid of that emotions or the depressions here.
yes.
And then vocabulary, that is expressive vocabulary, he will
Well,
develop
you have
here.
spoken a very important thing, ma'am. Radhika ma'am is speaking very good about that, that how it's helping our adolescents and why it is necessary. But in terms of good communication and good language, my
Yeah.
next question is to Bharathi ma'am. Bharathi ma'am, I would like to understand from you that how does a good communication or a good language can help adolescents for just managing their emotions, or if I speak, how they can reduce their conflict, how they can end their conflicts.
The communication, as we all know, is a central aspect in our lives and plays a key role in conflict resolution. It is not only to the adolescents, in each and every stage of life, communication plays a very important role. So, understanding this importance of communication and its influence in dispute resolution can transform the way we relate to others. So, good communication skills help adolescents resolve their conflicts by allowing them to express themselves clearly. The clarity is very important, listening to others and work towards solutions without escalating the situation. And I'll tell you how it goes. See, expressing feelings clearly means adolescents who can communicate well, they are very good at expressing how they feel without becoming aggressive and are shutting down. And for example, instead of saying you never listen to me, they
Hmm.
might say I feel ignored when my opinions are not considered.
Yes,
This is one example of good communication. Then active listening skill is nothing but uh, uh, it is not just talking. When adolescents listen to others perspective, they are more likely to understand the other side and reduce the
right.
misunderstanding. And then when we manage the emotions, communication skills often involve emotional
So, well,
regulation.
I
That
think, Bharati ma'am, these are some important factors on which you are also telling us and describing us the fact that there could be expressing feelings in a very better way, in a clear way. Active listening is one of the better way, and this can help in a way of good communication to manage the emotions and as well as to just end up or just to beaten up the conflicts, whatever coming in the adolescent's mind. Since we are running lack of time, so I can't continue this session, but I think it was an amazing and learning session in Sahyog today's topic which we had taken, how this can improve and how the good communication or good language can improve and help our adolescents for managing their emotions, for managing their conflicts, everything. I would like to give thank you to Radhika ma'am and Dr. Bharati ma'am for joining on this session. And And I would also like to thank our Indian Sign Language interpreter Anushka for joining us and helping our viewers to understand this complete session in the form of Indian Sign Language. Thank you, Anushka. And another important announcement for the students of class 4 and 7. Now you can go ahead and purchase the textbooks online on Flipkart, Amazon, and on NCERT's official website. And another important announcement, after some time at 5:30 p.m. today on PME Vidya channel, you will be watching our special session, NEPA, on school leadership and development. So this is me, Deepak Mishra, now wrapping up with the session. With the commitment, we will come back once again in another session, another experts, and we will be learning and discussing a lot of things. Till the time, take care of yourself, keep smiling, keep learning, and keep watching PME Vidya channels. Namaskar.